Welcome back everybody, we're now gonna play the Castles of Dr. Creep. And this time we're gonna play Alternation, our first real challenge into the game. And well, for a first challenge it is one hell of a first challenge. Basically, we need to gather 4 keys before we can even think about going down here, because there's no way of going back up here if you accidentally go here. So, yeah, well, as much as the keys are really easy, well, to locate, they're not going to be as easy to obtain because you're gonna have to do stuff in order to get every single one of them. So, no, I just can't do that. So, yeah, but, okay, where the hell are we going? Why is this? Oh, okay. Great. A black room where you can't see the floor. There's conveyor belts everywhere, and finally, yeah. Welcome! This is pretty much the closest this game gets to being a ROM-hack, even though it's not actually a ROM-hack. But, okay, how am I supposed to do this? So, okay, I guess oh, hey, look, that's not even the right one, and there's no way back because I'm trapped here, so time to commit suicide! And you basically do that by pressing the restore button on the Commodore 64, by the way. So, yeah, what a great idea for a room. Invisible conveyor belts that you can't even see. That was the rage indeed, because I am physically on rage right now. So, let's give this a try and hopefully find out what we're actually supposed to do in order to live, because, well, that room really is one huge dick move, because as much as this level is probably is really okay in terms of difficulty. I mean, most of it is not too hard or not too difficult, but, well, this is just terrible. But, well, thankfully we have a map for this, so we're just gonna follow those little instructions here because, well, there's a website that have maps of all of the castles, and this is like one of the only castles into the whole list where there's actual indications of what you're supposed to do, because this room is just terrible. So yeah, the first one that we went there, well, we should have triggered that one button, well, just now. But yeah, we had to just skip ahead. Yeah, we were almost done with the combination, but yeah. Basically, the first time that you do this, you just randomly stumble around until you eventually figure out what you're supposed to do. And even then, most of the time, I don't even remember what you're supposed to do. So, yeah, what a terrible room. I'm really glad to leave it. Oh, and by the way, in the beginning room, if you decided to go right, well, guess what? There's no way to trigger those force fields because, hey, look, there's no way to get to the switch. So you obligatory need to go to the left room first, because otherwise there's no way to continue unless you kill yourself. Once again, as much as this level has some pretty good difficulty, there's just some parts of this level which are just mean. But yeah, this is the kind of game that it is, honestly. Now it's time to stop being cuddly and finally show our claws. Well, at least the castles are doing that. Oh, great, another black door. As well, then another repetitive, recurring puzzle that we're gonna have to go to the room many times. So, essentially, this is why this level is called Alternation. We're gonna have to constantly alternate between, well, the left and the right portion of the levels. Because, well, of the force field that we just saw earlier. But at least almost all of the keys are easy to obtain, and here we go. Fuck me again. But at least this room cannot kill you, so this is already a huge improvement. But it still remains a huge pain in the ass because there's random trapdoors everywhere. And once again, you need to figure out how you open all of this so that eventually the way to the exit is opened up. And great. I completely don't remember what you're supposed to do, but once again, there's a map, so I'm probably gonna have to pause every once in a while so that I see what I'm supposed to do. Okay, so apparently I need to go over here. So, yeah, this is a great idea for a puzzle, guys. I upload, Godspeed. So, in the meantime, what could I possibly talk about? I don't know. I can't see my dialogue anymore because it's pitch black. Get it? Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, but this room is just so awful that I'm pretty much out of commentary at this point, but okay, at least our possibilities are narrowing out, so we're almost done with this room. Oh, hey, no, because you had to press this one first. Why are there even two things next to each other if this is all you're supposed to do? It just boggles the mind. Alright, this is going to be the countdown to New Year's Eve. 1. No, 1.5. 2, and here we go. We're finally done with this stupid as hell room. Seriously, this is just really awful, and I really don't condone this way of action. So, we're now on the other side, and now we can do the same thing that we did. But at least you don't need to go to the whole doorbell thing every single time that you go through this room. So now we need to just go and cycle again. So we're just gonna work around in order to get, well, we're gonna have all of those currents cut off, and well, we're just going to just skip around, well, to the other side of the room where you're supposed to go, because, well, at this point you know what kind of path you're supposed to take. Through the black room and finally cycle the current again. So I'll just meet you into another room. I'm frickin' Mazar, because we're gonna play some more of these things again. Hell yes. I think this is one of my favorite aspects of this game, just pressing all of those buttons some more, and I'll do this thing, because when they're stuck like that close to each other, you can just do random mishmash of music that lasts exactly 8 seconds. Everyone is surely envious. Oh, alright, now this room is a whole lot more interesting now that we don't have to do this stupid crap anymore. So now we're finally going to be able to get, well, our first key that we need in order to finish the level, and once that we've done that, well, we're just gonna work our way in order, well, to get the key that we needed in order to go into this other room, the purple key. Even though it's not a key which is at the bottom, well, oh great, I was completely forgetting about the key. I was already locked down into a pattern. This is terrible. Our poor old character is already growing senile. This is what being trapped into a horrible schizophrenic place does to you. So, now it is time to work some more in order to get our purple key. We're gonna do some more music, and thankfully this will be pretty much our before last visit into this room, because in our next pass, well, we're finally going to be able to get the key, but, well, we're gonna have some more twists, because we're gonna have to go through another part of the level now that we have the red key. Because now we can explore the lower left part of the castle. And this is where the castle will start to become a little bit more menacing. Well, at least you don't have black rooms, but, well, you do have some more meaner puzzles in order to go through, and before you can even continue to cycle around the level, well, you're just gonna have to go through many fiendish repetitive puzzles so that you can eventually get freed and end up again into the black room. So here we go. Now we can go... okay, we can go right over here. I didn't really want it to go down yet, because with only the red key, we can't really do a whole lot yet. Now you might be thinking, you could just go and get all the Frankenstein out of their coffins to fry them out in only one shot, but, well, it's a really bad idea because, well, they've got trapdoors in front of their things, and if they toggle it, well, the top Frankenstein up here with this trapdoor will just block the way to the conveyor belt that we just pressed, so even though you think you'd save time, it's just going to take twice as more trips into this room before you can finally get the key. Oh, and this room right here is actually pretty interesting, because now we're gonna surface from the upper part of the castle right here, but we need to toggle the switches correctly so that, well, whenever you'll go down and all of this, well, you're not going to be stuck. So, did I... okay, So basically the first door that we'll go through is the third one, so we need to make sure that... Oh, hey, guess what? I apparently flipped the right switches without even noticing it. So yeah, this is how you need to do it. You need to press the switches one by one so that you can eventually get the white key, because, well, you need the white key in order to get out of this room and get back to the black room with the conveyor belt. So we're just stuck onto these parts until we can figure out what we're supposed to do here. Well, we've already figured out what we're supposed to do here, but now we need to pull it off. So make sure that every single time, well, you don't forget to press the switch, and note that now the next destination that we need to go through is the first thing. So now that you're finally free because you pressed the right switches, now we need to just manipulate the lightning machine so that, well, the correct ones are in place. So since this part is kind of repetitive, I'm just going to cut it off pretty much when it's going to be done. So I'll see you guys later. Ho ho, you'll never believe what happened. Apparently pressing one of these switches turned off everything. Okay, or maybe not, because you notice that time advanced quite a bit ever since that we just left off. So we just need to press onto the final floor plate so that we can finally get the white key that we need in order to get out of here, so that we can finally resume our cycling around the castle. Our huge carousel. So basically, well, the idea behind this level is kinda similar to Tannenbaum, except that, well, you're not really free to go into the direction that you want to, because you constantly need to alternate between the left and the right side of the castle. But anyway, we can finally get our yellow key. Oh jeez, I can't even see colors anymore. I'm already blind. Those black rooms just blinded me because they're so neat. No, that's a huge lie. I apologize. So yeah, now we finally have this key so that we can exit out of here and, well, proceed to some more adventures through the rest of this dilapidated palace, because we still need to get the purple key so that we can get another key of the keys that we'll need later, so that we can eventually beat this level. Goodbye, section. I'll miss you. But at least this one part of the level is pretty quick and painless, because on the other lower side of the castle, there's going to be another puzzle like this, except that it's way more elaborate and just a whole lot more long and complicated. You're gonna have to go through it multiple times before you'll be done with it. So, without any further ado, are you ready to do some more music? Because I sure am. I'm always ready for music. You always gotta support your fellow musicians into the castle of Dr. Creep. Especially when it gives you keys like this. Yes, I am indeed the reincarnation of Mozart. Don't go and knock at my door all at once. So now that we have the purple key, we can finally go up here into this one other room, because we're gonna get one of the keys that we need in order to open the lower part of the level where we're gonna end our journey. Because down the starting room, well, it's the end, but, well, you need all of the keys in order to do everything. Or do you? The suspense thickens. But we're gonna have a shit ton of suspense because we need to avoid a shit ton of those ray guns in order for us to finally be able to get this key right here. So it's a pretty part, but, well, at least you don't have to go through the climb up the ladder already, because I really don't want to fry to death. Frying to death is pretty much overrated. But yeah, once that we've managed to finally do this, well, we'll have gotten all of the main keys that we need in order to be done with the upper part of the castle. But now we're gonna have to go through the lower part of the castle, and this is where the level will really start to be a laugh riot, because there will be one part where we'll be stuck in the lower right of the castle for a long ass time, and well, you're going to see why. Yeah, this really isn't one of the better intermediate castle of the bunch, because as much as the difficulty is okay, I think it's kind of relies a whole lot much on the repetition of a few direct room, because it's a pretty lengthy castle, but it's all because of pretty much one section into the level, so this is mainly why I'm not a huge fan of it. There's far better castles than this. Baskerville, obviously. And yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to do an update where I don't rag against this castle, because it's an unbelievable piece of shite. Of shit, yeah. Yeah, it's so bad that it's making me forget how to even speak. Looking forward to do this video, hell yes. How I wish you could, no wait, I'm just going to die if I press a button right here, and I really can't afford to die, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to die into some of the later room into this level, because once again, this castle can be pretty cheap. Well, at least it's mainly cheap when you don't know about the first obstacles of the level, and wow, that's pretty convenient. All of the buttons that you need to press are pretty much right next to each other here. So at least they're making this part of the level pretty painless. Yoink! So we have 2 of the 4 keys that we need to beat the level. Only 2 more to go, but unfortunately they're going to be the most painful. Dun 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 dun. So yeah, right now we're just gonna have to go to the left side of the castle again. I'm so concerned about going to the left side that I even exited by the left door. And this is pretty unfair, because I'm not too sure, because it's been a while since I played this castle, but I really remember the right part of the level taking a lot more time to solve than, well, the other one, so this is one part of the level where it really doesn't feel too heaven. So anyway, we're just going to meet again on the main room so that we can start tackling the lower right part of the castle. Alright, it's down to you and me, you ugly dark side of the castle, even though there's no black rooms into this section. Yeah, already you need to do far more visits into this one room than you have to do into the other one. As much as you can beat the lower left part of the level in only like 3 visits or so in order to get the key, you need to go like 5 times, and yeah, this is where the fun really begins. We're just gonna have to spend a lot of time onto those 3 rooms so that we can finally exit in order to eventually work our way in order to get the key. Yeah, once again, this is a pretty... nah, I'm not gonna rag on this room, because I actually like it. You need to just outrun the gun out there in order to trigger all of the trapdoors, and you need to do some fancy dancing, because otherwise they're just going to close on your face. And this is just not a good thing to happen. But yeah. But later on, it's going to be kind of a pain in the ass, because, well, at one point you're just gonna have to cycle through this room a whole lot, and instead of, well, having to go through all of this thing, well, you're gonna have to just go from the door we came from to the door with a key, because now our aim is to get the cyan key or something like that. But right now... oh, great. As much as I usually don't like these rows of Frankenstein, I don't really mind it whenever, well, the whole process of killing them is really painless and quick, because, well, you just have to go like 2 or 3 feet away from the part where you're going to. And the last Frankenstein even was a guardian of the key, no, not the key, but well, the key to their destruction, that is. So yeah, this room at least was pretty easy, and I like it. It's certainly one of the most fun that you can have whenever you're dealing with those Frankenstein monsters into this level, because most of the time, well, they're just going to be a pain in the ass. And yeah, we already have one glimpse of the repetitive puzzle that the level has, so... Well, if you excuse us, we're just going to do this. Welcome back. You will never would have noticed that I gone missing, because I surely was busy during all of this time. So, while this puzzle was not really long to solve, because I'm pretty sure it only took like 1 or 2 minutes, yeah, this one is not going to be as smooth sailing. Because right off the bat, you already need to waste an entire visit, and, well, you probably can guess what you have to do here. We're gonna have to trap some mummies behind all of this, but... yeah, once again, we're just gonna have to take a whole lot long of a detour so that we get there. This whole right side of the level is just so unfairly distributed or something, because you have to spend so much more time into this place in comparison to the other one, which is so easy and all of this, but yeah. And we've not even kickstarted the level, not the level, but the puzzle properly, but yeah, we basically just turned off a conveyor belt so that we can make it so that we can we can do everything that you've ever wanted to. But yeah, we can trigger the mummies and we'll be able to trap them behind, well, behind one of the traps, and then you need to come back once again so that you can turn off the conveyor belt, which is just behind the mummy. So, and by the way, you cannot do the kamikazes and, well, just go and... okay. But yeah, basically you just can't go kamikaze by activating the mummy and run through it while it's currently emerging and all of this, because even if it's just waking up from its sleep and all of this, it's still going to kill you, so yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. So, as much as most of the level is pretty okay the way that it's been set all around, well, yeah, the right side of the level just sucks, even though it doesn't have as much of a stupid black room puzzle than the other side had. I mean, with the conveyor belts and all of this. I mean, it just could have been so much more better, but yeah. Instead, it's just meh. And why am I doing that? I have absolutely no idea. Probably just to make our return to all of these rooms and all of this just a little bit more lively. So, now that you've seen how you're supposed to do all of this room, well, I'm just going to spare you the waiting of having to do this room over and over again. So the rest of this is going to be headed out as soon as I get to the other side of this green door. Okay, we finally went to the other side of the door, and we finally trap or kill all of the mummies that were in our way. This is why there's no mummy on the floor I'm currently standing on. Because I killed it. And I wore it as a coat or something, because my poor little guy is wearing a pink shirt, and this is certainly the most embarrassing thing that can ever occur to you. Being trapped into a deadly castle while wearing a pink shirt and cyan shorts or whatever. I don't know. Your guy has got the worst taste in clothing ever, but, well, this is not the most important thing which is at hand right now. The most important thing is that we finally finish getting all of the things that we need. So basically, we're just gonna have to take another final trek to this room with the green key so that we can get it. While, you know, we're still not even a quarter on the way of getting the other key. So, yeah, this is mainly why this level is just so badly balanced. Because we're pretty much gonna be wasting our time having to go back to the left side of the screen, while everything there is just all done and all dandy. So here we go, we can get the key, and yeah, Go down here. You have an appointment with an electrical machine, Mr. Frankenstein. But yeah, see how quick it took, and you also saw the trapdoors that were created just in front of the things. This is the reason why we did that we did this room into this one order. So anyway. So it's finally time that we finally work onto getting this one key that we're still ages away of getting, while we've finished the entire other side of the castle. This is just wonderful. So basically, once that we've done that, we need to go back to the main room, but that's not the entire gist of it, because we're gonna have to go back to the other side of the castle so that we can switch back the lightning machines into our favor, because if we try and go back and do this thing again without having changed anything, well, we're just gonna fry. So, well, now that you're aware of the procedure that we need to go through, well, I'm just going to do this off camera. Well, we're finally back. Just look at how much time has passed ever since that, well, we just finally did our thing, and we finally have all of the keys, so this means we can finally finish this castle once and for all. So we just need to undergo our final journey through this lower trek of the castle, and I just can't wait to spitefully talk about it. You, Blue Room, you wish you were as red as your cousin. Wait, I don't think there's even red rooms into this game, so that didn't even make any sense. I think this is this castle, which is just getting to me. After all, this level is called Alternation for a reason. That's because it starts to alternate your brain cells, and it makes you eventually go crazy because you've played the same rooms so many times, and well, it also makes it so that at one point during the off-camera play, I just teleported to the wrong room and pretty much did a whole cycle around the level for no reason, so hooray for me being dumb. But at least I didn't have to share my stupidity only, well, this way, but you didn't have to see it, so everything's well. So here it is, the final room of the game. You're gonna see why you need all of the 4 keys in order to turn off all of these machines, so we're just gonna go and get right on it. Basically, well, I could have killed myself in order to go back to this room faster, but, well, you know what? The final room, well, it can take you by surprise if you're... Okay? Okay, well, the final room can take you by surprise, but, well, I don't know. Do you really need all of the keys in order to even do this? Oh, great. You don't even need one of the keys in order to even do this. You can shut off all of the machines by having the green and the yellow key, but unfortunately, well, the only key you don't need is the red one, and it happens to be the one which is the easiest to obtain, so yeah, you're kind of boned there. But yeah, I really don't want to only have 1 life left here because, well, you can get shot instead of, well, having the mummies being shut down or something like that, so I'm really not about taking any kind of risks whatsoever. Especially not in levels like that, because it sucks having to replay an entire castle like this because you ran out of lives. But at least the castles in which you see your character escape get a whole lot nicer now, with some awesome baby puke color as the roof. So we finally get a high score. No, okay. Yes. We're gonna have a bum or a mub if we just wish to switch things around, because that was the theme of the level. The theme of the level was also to get game over as we finished it. So here we go! We finally finished Alternation, our first real challenge in the game. A dick move into many parts, but in the end, well, it's an okay castle. It could have been better by just balancing it a little bit more, by making it so that it will take just about the right amount of time to be done with the left and right portions of the level, but whatever, we'll deal with it. So this is the end of this video, unless, well, you stay around for the musical portion. So I'm just gonna shut up here and wish all of you goodbye and see you on the next castle.